Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to City Skylines. Um, I have no idea why the trains are bobbing up and down over there, but this is the new central station for the city. Here's the location of it, in case you were wondering. Uh, this was just I don't know. I felt like something was needed in this side of town, and let me just pause the game real quick. Something was needed on this side of town, and before this was actually just more housing and whatnot, and I didn't like it. There wasn't a really central hub for people to get into the city aside from the highway, and even then, not a lot of people use it. Kind of disappointing. But so I decided to uh, put in a central station, and this is the Kansas City Central Station, in case you're wondering. And it's a really beautiful model. But as for why the trains are like bobbing on this track and this track over here, I have no idea. But aside from that, I put in a bunch of decals, these dirt decals that I found, and it really makes the track look really dirty and gritty. And I also put in these trees over here, and I also had this little rail yard with some trash and whatnot, and sticks and bushes, and that I thought that looked really nice. And also these tanks, not quite sure what they would be used for, and also a bunch of props over here, junk and stuff. But some trees and bushes and fencing going around, and I like it. I really do. Um, and this area over here, where the rails elevate to get onto this section of track, that's still this still has work to be done on it. Um, just got some housing and whatnot along here. I looked it up before I actually made this. Just how like cities build in just in general, and I expanded the city a lot more, as you can probably tell. Um, but I noticed that they will build a road right up against the highway as close as they can possibly get, and put housing and buildings and whatnot along it. So that's what I decided to do. And I also decided to put in these telephone poles with the lights as the street lights, because that's something I also noticed. The further away you go from the city, the more that where are they? The more that these types of situations occur. Too bad they don't have wires, but um, yeah, I expanded the rail system. I put a distribution center over here with a nice big parking lot. Still empty though. Um, Expanded some industry again. I put these dirt decals all over the place along these roads. These roads look absolutely filthy. So that's the situation there. I had a big loop over here for the trains to actually get to the central station, and this is the only rail that's feeding it so far. So um, that's still got to be adapted to in the future. And the shopping plaza, like I said before, I added a Macy's and this other building, um, and just like a little pond and some more trees and whatnot, more parking, and filled it up. So I think it looks a lot better. And I also changed the fence over here to be a black iron fence that also curves with the cement. So that's a little bit better. Um, but yeah, as for this episode, there's a reason why I focused on the rail over here. And as you can see, the rail dips down and actually goes along this really trash-filled, quite disgusting, rundown section. Um, And the reasoning behind this is because in this episode, we are going to be building kind of like the edge of the city projects. These were requested by a few people in the comments, so thank you for the request. Sorry, my nose is a bit itchy. So one request said that I should build a sort of rundown slum area near the nuclear power plant. Which I'm not sure if I've showed this, but I added a ton of custom trees all around it, so looks a lot better than the default pine trees before. But I noticed that the city was expanding a lot towards the nuclear power plant, and I did not like that one bit. Bit too close for comfort, as you can probably tell. So this plot of land, this avenue, I should say, this rail, I should say, is basically the edge of the city. Whatever expansion occurs between this rail and the nuclear power plant will probably be very, very, very minimum. I don't want to get any closer to here than I already have. So, rather than just having a little cutoff with these lower buildings, I took up a request from the comments to build some projects, and I thought, well, I had one request to build some tenements near the nuclear power plant, and another request to build some projects. So I said, well, why not do both and put them right here in this plot of land, both on this side of the rail and on this side. So without further ado, let's get into that. And I actually went and downloaded some assets off the Steam Workshop that I think should fit quite nicely. They are very reminiscent of projects that are in New York, if I can find them. They're around here somewhere. So I've got these. I've got these and these. Can't really see it. Hold on, maybe. There we go. So I've got the red one and the white one. And also these nice plus shaped ones. And these can be found, you can see them quite clearly all around the eastern side of New York, right along FDR Drive. So that's kind of the idea that I'm going to be going for. So I think I'm going to put these plus-sized buildings on this side of the rails, and I'll put these buildings on that side of the rails. And I might add some more over here later. Oh, we have a dead person waiting at the prison. That's not my problem. It's obviously my problem, but I'm just gonna ignore it. So, let's see. Now, as you're probably going to notice, to the other side of the tracks, that there are already some of the plus-shaped buildings already placed down. And that's because what originally happened with that building was I had made it, but I didn't like the way it turned out. Since I referenced this a lot with the projects that can be found in New York, at first I didn't notice it, and I'm not sure how I didn't notice it, but projects are built very uniformly, like unbelievably uniformly. And if you don't know what I mean, I'm saying like they're very symmetric. They have a pattern. I think the ones that I was referencing on, they all the buildings converge to a fountain in the middle of it, which I thought looked really nice. But the space that I was talking about prior for the plus-shaped buildings, if you saw it, was not a rectangle. It was not uniform. It had a lot of curves and angles to it, and it just did not work out at all. The I think there were way too many buildings so close to each other. Yeah, you can see. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. So I decided to tear it down and rebuild it, and you'll see me rebuild it later. But for right now, I'm putting in these. I'm not quite sure what to call them. I'll just call them U-shaped buildings. Kind of works. So the white U-shaped buildings. For some reason, I don't really focus on these nearly as much. I don't know why. For some reason, they don't really seem to. What's the word that I'm trying to go for? They don't really affect me as much. I don't. Again, I don't know. But the plus shaped buildings. I guess it's because I was basing it off of an actual image for the other project set. So that's why this one doesn't seem to click as much with me. But like I was saying, I don't really focus as much with these. I put them down, I decorate them, put some trees. Projects are completely littered with trees everywhere. So I put trees, put some flowers, some bushes around them, connect all the paths, and that's basically it. I think I forgot to put night lighting along the pathing, so that's a mistake on my part. I just remember that actually right now, so yeah, I don't focus nearly the same amount on these projects as I do when you see me building the other ones across the rails later. But for right now, putting down some trees and these bushes, I noticed this weird, I don't think it's really weird, but when you put down props with the prop line tool, and they have this yellow or the yellow and the red circle base around them, they tend to like disappear afterwards. I'm not quite sure what the cause of that is. I'm assuming it has to do with when I turn the anarchy off. The game just thinks, like they're invading the personal space of the structure, so it deletes them automatically. Something about clearance, I don't know. That's probably the reason, but that issue seems to plague me a bit with all my builds that I have to put either flowers or fencing down, so kind of annoying. But yeah, just putting down flowers, now putting down some trees. And I left a little, by the fountain over there, I left that as a grass area. Not really access to it now that I think about it, because there's flowers surrounding it, but I guess just having some grassy area out of all of these trees, probably a good thing. It at least adds some sort of flair to it that you can't really find with the rest of the buildings because there's trees everywhere. But now moving on to across the rails, or not really across the rails, but above them. Look at that. Putting in some bridges, and I take down some of those bridges, obviously, because they don't really line up on the other side. But I want them to be pedestrian bridges, but the pedestrian pathways didn't really look too good. I tried testing them out, but I didn't like them, so I went ahead and used the like zonable paths or something like that. But as you just saw, I went ahead and destroyed the entire previous projects complex using the Move It tool, which it's a nice feature that tool has. But I went ahead and demolished it. You probably caught a glimpse of what it had looked like. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I did not like it one bit. I mean, I did like it initially, But then I re-looked at it and I was like, this is awful. So, um, ironically, or not ironically, what is the word that I'm trying to say? Oh, here I go again, looking for words. I decided to split the two project complexes with a rail. And originally, it was just going to be a single complex with the plus-sized buildings, and it was going to be split by a rail. And then I decided I would switch it up, that it'd be the two complexes, and then the rail would be the boundary. And then I decided to go back on my word, and now this complex is split by a rail. And it's just the single rail that I decided to use, not the double rail. And I thought that was nice because going across the river, there's probably going to be, less people, less, what is the term? Less used, I guess. So there wouldn't be really a necessity to have the double rail going across, and just a single rail should be fine. And also that single rail doesn't really connect to the central station. You can't access it from that rail, so it didn't really make any sense to make it double, so single worked out just fine. But going on back to the game, as you could see, I was trying to make a sort of pattern, a little ring pattern, again mimicking the one that I saw in New York. And it would have, the one in New York had 4 half circles of roads that would go in, and then they would have the project complexes line against them. And speaking of project complexes, as you can see, the tiles, it had blue tiles and a parking spot on it. I went into the asset editor and I changed it up because I didn't like the way it looked. The blue tiles and the parking spot, especially the parking spot. It was just 3 parking spots for the entire building. And I just thought, that's why even? So I took those out and I changed the tiles from blue to what is it, like yellowish with a red pattern going around it, as you can see right there. So I think it looks better. And I also changed some bushes up and rearranged some props. But back to what I was saying before, the projects had a pattern that they followed where there would be the ring, and I tried to go for it, but there were so many intersections on the other side of the avenue that I decided that it would just really mess up traffic, so I went against it. But here I am now, just laying out my pathing network, again with the zonable pedestrian paths. I think they're pedestrian paths. I see cars driving along it, which I hate. I hate so much that cars drive on those. I just want it to be specifically for people. And I even went to the traffic manager, or whatever that mod is called, and I actually said, like, nothing can drive on these paths except emergency vehicles and the garbage. And I just see like pickup trucks and taxis and whatnot driving there, despite me, banning them pretty much. So that's pretty weird. Maybe the next time I load the game it'll take effect, but as of right then and there, I was kind of irritated by that, but hopefully that gets resolved. But one thing that I noticed after recording this is that there aren't really any curves. I mean, there's one path on either side that has a nice curve to it. Other than that, it's very a rigid, like 90-degree, 45-degree pathing network, which was pretty weird because, as I've been saying so much, I had based these off the ones in New York, and those have curves all over them. If you look at them, they're littered with curves and twists and turns, and
I don't know, for some reason I just wasn't feeling it. I decided to go against it. So just putting down some more, again, more very rigid networking of paths to put the buildings down against. And what was I trying to say right then and there? It's very symmetrical. And I didn't want to make the buildings too close together because, again, like in real life, they aren't really bunched up next to each other. I mean, there'll be sets of 3 buildings at max that are right next to each other. 3 and 2 are the main building designs that I could see, but I never went over to that, and I tried to give them enough space and enough areas that I would later put trees on them. And so I think this design that I finally finished up with looks much better than the original. And if you haven't seen the original, well, rewind the video and check out when I demolished the entire complex. You could just catch a glimpse of it. But over here, I am putting in some paths, and those little trapezoids that are formed, I actually make those a little park with a fountain. Looks pretty nice. Not a whole lot of detail. I know that some people, when they play this game, they go like detail crazy. They like put in tons of trees. They put benches all over the parkways. The lights, the decals, flowers, bushes, you name it. And it looks nice. I'm not gonna lie, it looks nice. But it takes a lot of time to do, number 1. And number 2, it will affect your frame rate. And well, I'm not saying that my computer is bad. It used to be bad, hence my YouTube name. But I did upgrade it, otherwise I wouldn't even be able to play this game. But my city population has reached over 100,000 at this point. And it, basically, I don't want to overload my game as it is right now, to have to load tons and tons of props and trees and whatnot. So that's why you mostly see me just like do some zoning, put down some trees here and there, and that'll be it. Nothing super crazy, especially with decals. I notice a lot of people go around and use tons and tons of decals, and yeah, it makes a set look good, but again, it's very time consuming, and I don't really have tons of time to record these. I usually record these videos on the weekend because I just don't really have a lot of time to sit down and play this game for hours, and this game really takes hours to play. So I don't really have the patience either to do that. But that's just me. There are plenty of other people that spend tons of time, and the work does pay out. It definitely does. But having to think up of what to do, where to put things, props and assets that you have to download, like, it really, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I mean, it is my cup of tea. I like what I do in the game. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to playing SimCity 4, which that series recently wrapped up. Well, not recently. It wrapped up a couple months ago, but in that game, I didn't really go prop and decal crazy for specific reasons. The game just would crash a lot, so that would be something to avoid. But enough of me rambling about how I play the game. Back to the actual build. So putting in some basketball courts, and I lined them up with a fence. The fence didn't go all the way around, but I don't really see that as much of a problem. And putting in some benches, more of these curb props. And these curb props are really nice. I believe they're by King Leno, so props to you, man. Haha, look at me making jokes. But just putting in some flowers, orange and white, and I noticed that the orange and white flowers are used like the most throughout the entire city. It's ridiculous how many times I use them. But like I said earlier, I think I said earlier, I would put in a a grassy plot area for relaxation. And I went ahead and put those picnic tables in, just kind of threw them around, and it looks nice. It would just be open recreational area, and I was thinking of putting the like cut grass decal there, but I decided against it because one, there were too many angles and whatnot, and two, it's a project. It's not super well maintained, so you know, having nicely cut grass not really fitting the theme. But moving on, putting in some parking spots. There's very limited parking in projects that I could see. So I just put 4 of these 4x4 parking spots around on like the 4 corners of the well, not exactly the 4 corners, but you get the idea. I put them on 4 evenly placed sides of the complex. So now we're moving into the night lighting. Not a whole lot of special night lighting. It's mostly just the yellow lights going along, the yellow street lights or park lights, I think, going along the pathing so it's not completely pitch black, and also the little string over lights for the fountains, which adds a little pizzazz to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it just makes it look not so uniform. Even though, despite me saying this entire time that it's all uniform pattern or whatnot, but I think the night lights, had I not put them in, it was been complete blackness basically, because these buildings don't put out a lot of light. So without the custom street lights, it would have been much darker. So good thing I did that. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, I didn't put any night lights down for the other set of buildings across the rails, so I'll have to get to that off camera. And unfortunately, that probably won't be in this video as an afterthought because, again, as I said before, I'm pressed for time. And I really want to get a video out, so that's why I'm here. But we are approaching the end to this time lapse, and as always, I have some cinematic shots of the complexes that I had built. Just putting in some metal railings and whatnot over there, but I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. I'll leave you guys with the aforementioned what am I saying? Cinematic shots. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Take care.